We are pleased to be joined now by the Harford County Executive. Bob Cassilly joins us in studio this morning. Great to have you here.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good to be here.
We were just talking with meteorologist Alina Lee, and she was talking about the storms that are coming in later today. I'm sure this is one of those things where you are always, as the chief executive, watching and making sure that everything is prepared as much as possible. What's going on there?
Yeah, we had our first call on this, bringing everybody together yesterday afternoon, and I completely agree with what she's saying on the forecast. Our big concern right now is that squall line, as they refer to it, sometime maybe in the 7 o'clock and later range, where you could potentially have 70, 80 mile an hour winds. The ground's saturated as it is right now. We got a lot of big trees. Concern is those trees are going to fall down. We're going to have a lot of power outage. So we've got our emergency operations center will be standing up about 2 o'clock today. We've already spoken yesterday with our utilities and our road crews, make sure that we're prepared to go out and start tackling the downed trees, and the utilities are pre-positioning to be available to start going after these down lines.
Well, it's an interesting thing because you usually think that's BGE's job, right, or the utilities job. Yeah. What role does the county play in that?
Well, we got to clear the roads for them to get through. You can't. Okay. We all depend on each other, so you got to work. You got to work in teams because that big tree goes down, it blocks the road. BGE can't get anywhere, and then to the extent that a tree's got a power line in it. Now we need BGE to cut the power for a week and assist in removing it from the roads. So they work in a coordinated fashion. But beyond that, if as she mentioned, the weather or the temps will go down substantially after the squall line comes through tonight. And so if we have power outages and temperatures taking a dive, we got potential for some folks needing warming shelters. So we're pre-positioning our warming shelter. So we'll have a lot more to brief folks on this evening in the news as well as our plans really come to fruition. But it's a concern. I hope folks take this one seriously. We don't get these kind of high winds. I remember once before watching that squall line approach cross Maryland, and that was the last time that happened. We watched them just kind of wipe out the Westminster area and kind of head our way and hit us as well. So these are very dangerous.
Walk me through what needs to be reported. Obviously, there's lots of different things going on. Who does it need to be reported to? We all think when there's a power outage, we call BG&E. Yeah. What if you see this tonight? Please contact who?
Yeah, well, look, BGE is your best on contacting for the power. Anything power related, call BG because they rely on that. They build their outage maps based upon calls that are coming in. So it's very helpful because that's how they determine, hey, let's put a bunch of assets over to this area, right? If you're only getting one call, it's like, okay, we'll get to that, but I got 300 calls over here. So it's important that people do report that and let them know to the extent that it's, something just on the road that's not necessarily a power related, reach out. We'll have our county lines will be up and operating. People can call and let us know when the trees are down. And if it's an emergency down, something's an emergency, if you'll, call 911, let us know if a downed tree is an emergency, particularly if it goes on your house or something like that, a neighbor's house. So folks, in the meantime, hoping that people are securing stuff out of their lawns, get those trash cans put in the garage. They'll become missiles possibly tonight. You'll never find them again. Your trash can lids, bicycles and all that. Get your stuff in, close those garage doors tight, and just be prepared because we're getting lulled into a false sense of, hey, it's 60 degrees, it's nice, it's balmy. And all of a sudden, boom, tonight when it's pitch black and you can't do anything anymore, this squall line hits. You can't find your stuff outside. It's flying away. Temperatures are dropping. So just be careful.
We're talking with Bob Cassilly, the Harford County Executive. So there's a chance of hail, and then there's apparently a ban on ice, though, throughout the entire state of Maryland, including Harford County, in which you guys have partnered with ICE officially through the 287G program. Your community has welcomed it in there to want them to do the right things and to work with them to get those who have committed crimes, especially out of the detention centers and then ultimately deported. What is your response to not just the 287G program, but the just unending bills that come out of Annapolis aimed at ICE?
Yeah. Well, Annapolis needs to appreciate that. We live in a very dangerous world. And that's, internationally, nationally, locally, there's a lot of bad people out there. And our policing resources, while we have overarching responsibilities at the federal level, but there's not a lot of law enforcement there. The bulk of your law enforcement throughout this country are at your county and municipal levels, not even your state, but your county and municipal levels. And so we are effectively that force that the federal officials rely upon, and we rely upon them because they have intelligence that we don't have at the local level. Who are these bad guys? Where are they coming from? Gangs, international gangs, and all that. So it's really critical that our feds and our locals work together in a unified effort to provide a meaningful level of safety and security for our citizens. Well, Annapolis is now saying, if you listen to the rhetoric there and the de facto what's happening in some of these bills, what they're saying is, let's kind of mess up this trust relationship. Let's kind of, hey, you local guys, you can't trust the federal guys and vice versa and go after them and tell them you're not going to hire them and you're not going to report to them. That's really dangerous. We saw this in the police reform bills. Remember the great police reform bills that said the community couldn't trust policing? And look what a success that's been, because it's made policing twice as expensive as people just get out of policing. I mean, the recruitment numbers, it's tough to get people to go into policing. Hey, well, that's what happens when politicians step in and start making emotional pleas in the safety and security areas. It's going to cause lasting damage, and that's my real concern. Is we're interfering with that collaboration that's just so necessary between Fed, state, and particularly local level, where the bulk of the boots on the ground exist in all levels of law enforcement. They need to work together, not just on immigration, but on all law enforcement issues. But once you can't pull that apart. Once you start saying, hey, feds or state, local, you can't trust or work with Fed, you can't parse that apart and say, well, we didn't mean those feds.
Yeah, no, just this particular agency. Bottom line, has Annapolis made Harford County less safe?
Yeah, they have. And look, the folks who came into our county who committed those heinous crimes, they didn't start here. They had interactions throughout the state and the nation. We just happened to catch them in Harford County. But if those other jurisdictions, those sanctuary jurisdictions, had been alerted, those folks would have been picked up there before they got to Harford County. And vice versa, where we're doing a favor for we've been doing a favor for the rest of the state, because we've pulled people out and who were bad actors who otherwise would have, they stopped in Harford County for a while, but it doesn't mean they weren't going to be in Montgomery or Prince George's or Baltimore City or Baltimore County and all that. So Annapolis, by telling that we can't look. You can, if you pull me over, somebody in my family, our complete records. Police know who they are. You pull somebody over who's been in this country, who's giving an alias. You don't know what their backgrounds are. But what's Annapolis saying? We'll just put them back in the mix. Put them back. Don't worry about it. We're not going to worry whether what kind of terrible background they might have that might damage other people. So it's really just outrageous. I really am troubled by this attitude that politicians putting just sort of these hyper-political views into public safety. And public safety ought to be about making people safe, not about people making political statements. And I'm afraid that's where we are right now, making political statements. I'm not sure why. It's a complex mix here as to why making a political statement is more important than actually ensuring the public safety. But it's where we are. Maybe it's a sad commentary in a larger scale, and I'll leave other folks to figure that one out. But it is the reality here that you can hear people on TV, you can watch the folks in Annapolis, and clearly the concern is on the political rhetoric of making sure that we do the politically correct thing and not that we ensure the public safety.
We're going to have to leave it there. Good to have you in.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Good luck tonight as well.
Thank you.
Bob Cassilly, who is the Harford County Executive.